Skrmetta Show. Thank you for tuning in. We are doing this for the first time in the new studio. We are doing this on video also, so hopefully the video part of this will be available on my YouTube channel. Just search my name, JamesSkrmetta. I wasn't prepared to say my name right there. I wasn't prepared to just spell it out. And about halfway through my first name, right around the M, I was thinking, I'm going to mess this up. I haven't thrown my name out there, spelled the entire thing since, I don't know, 3rd, 4th grade, and really thought about it. So I am shocked and stunned and impressed, mostly impressed, that I got that out without messing up. This is the James Skrmetta Show. We have an absolutely slam show, stack show. We usually stick around 5 topics or so. We've got 6. 6 topics. 6 topics. So let's not mess about. Let's not mess around. But first, if you are new to the show, or if you're returning and you love it, please go to iTunes, drop a 5-star rating and review. It helps with the visibility of the show. It helps with all that stuff. It helps more people to find me, which is why we're all here in the first place. So, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and jump straight into the madness. First story, Tomi Lahren. Tomi, you know Tomi. Blonde hair, girl. She's on Facebook all the time screaming about Muslims and Trump and stuff. Tomi's in a bit of hot water with the right, with the Republicans. You don't see this too much. Tomi made a little whoopsie-poopsie on The View. No, not just going on The View, which is a whoopsie-poopsie in itself, but she was asked about abortion. And as someone who works for The Blaze, works for Glenn Beck, incredibly far-right ideals, very outspoken, she said something that was a little surprising. She said that she was pro-choice. Whoa. Hold on a second. Glenn Beck may be the most pro-life person on the planet, and The Blaze and the people on The Blaze are incredibly pro-life. So the fact that Tomi came out and said this on a pretty liberal show got people's feathers a little ruffled. Tomi tried to defend it a little bit on Twitter, said she believes in the Constitution. She believes that she can't say that government should be limited while also saying that government should tell women what to do with their bodies. Glenn Beck came out and talked about her on Twitter and also talked about her on his radio show. A little bit of hot water for Tomi. And my take on this is that I really don't care what she says or what her opinion is, because I have no problem with, I understand both sides of it. It's a super polarizing, hot topic, hot button issue, and I can see both sides easily, right? I've never been one to believe that you have to believe in things just because you're a Republican, or you have to believe in things just because you're a Democrat. I think that that's a big problem with our country and the way we vote, is that people get locked into a party and they feel like they have to do things, right? Like, I'm a Republican, thus I have to believe in the death penalty. I'm a liberal, I have to believe in abortion. You can be socially one way, economically one way. You can believe in the death penalty, but and also believe in abortion. You can vice versa. So just because she's a Republican, just because she's on The Blaze, just because she's on the voice and face for the right, doesn't mean that she necessarily has to believe these things. I don't blame her for that. What I will say is, Tomi has a very interesting career arc. Very interesting, and her whole career has been very fast, right? So it doesn't take long to figure out where she came from. 2014, she graduated college, applied for an internship. Instead of getting the internship, they gave her her own show. And so she had her own show. And from less than a year from the show, then she joined The Blaze in 2015. She graduated in 2014. In 2015 was the Columbia shootings, right? Is that what it was? And she was on the forefront of that. And once that happened, she basically became the viral superstar that she is now. So you're talking about a girl with virtually no experience at all, being thrust into heavy media eyes, heavy scrutiny, and on top of everything, she decided that her stick would be this flamethrower, super aggressive style, like a Skip Bayless or people like that. So it was kind of a perfect storm for her that she has to deal with those eyes And that kind of criticism, she invites it because she's so aggressive. It works for her. There's also major cons. Major cons to that is when you're saying so much stuff and you're so powerful with it that if you change your stance or anything at all, people will eat you alive. And I blame, Tomi's 24. She's 24 years old. I blame a lot of this on her being 24. So I'm not going to tear her up for her comments. I'm not going to tear her up for believing, pro-choice. Irrelevant. But I think this is a good look into when you have an edited 3.5-minute video on Facebook. That's a little different than going on a TV show with live bullets and maybe some stuff slipping out of your mouth. So, I kind of feel bad for her, I guess, in a way. That's the nature of the beast. The nature of the beast is you got to watch what you say. And Tomi got eaten up by that. I would not be surprised at all. Glenn Beck came out and said that he's not going to fire anybody because of their comments, but I would be shocked if she's on the Blaze in November, something like that. I would be stunned if come this fall she's back on the Blaze. Next story. Oh man, this story right here. Okay, so on this show, maybe 6 months ago or so, we talked about adults coloring, like the adult color book phase, and this big fad where like adults were buying adult themed coloring, but not adult themed like XXX, but coloring books made for adults, and they were so that it would help cure stress or something, and this was a big new thing. And I did not like this at all. I came out really hard on that whole fad. Now they've gone one up. They've evolved their Pikachu into a Raichu, and now we're dealing with the Raichu. So now adults can go to kindergarten, adult kindergarten, where they go and they voluntarily go into a classroom setting where they can color, they can play with cutouts, like paper cutouts, they can scissor the cutouts and make stuff and do little crafts. They can take naps, they can dance, they can play. They have a teacher. They don't have any of the adult things like a phone or booze or cigarettes or car key. They're allowed to be little kids. They're in an adult kindergarten. Now, let me be extremely clear, extremely specific when I say this, because it's the exact same vein as the coloring books. If you're using this, if you are part of this, you have messed up. You screwed up. Okay? You've messed up. You need to take a step, 2 steps maybe. Take a few steps backwards. Because you're warping what's supposed to happen. Being an adult sucks. Okay? Being an adult is tough. Bills suck. Work sucks, right? All that stuff. 9 to 5s. Waking up every day, going to the office for 8 hours just to pay your bills. Paying $10 worth of gas sucks. Gas sucks. I get it. But you have to be an adult. You can't revert. You know those commercials when you see like the NyQuil commercials when it's like a dad doesn't take a day off and the dad is sick and he goes into his kid's bedroom and he's like, sorry, sweetie, but I'm going to have to call in sick today. And she's looking at him like, well, how am I going to get to school? How am I going to do anything? That's the same thing. You can't just be like, all right, well, I'm pretty stressed out right now. I'm going to go be 6 for the next 5 hours. So if anybody needs me, I'll be coloring. That doesn't work. That's not how life is supposed to be. That's not how you're supposed to be. The appropriate way to handle it is to face whatever you're facing, adjust, figure out how to better the situation, and then be better and overcome it and be strong and move on. Anytime stuff gets too big for you or you get too stressed out, you don't want to revert back to coloring and being in kindergarten and doodling and cutting stuff out with scissors. You don't want to do that. This fad, I honestly believe is dangerous. I really believe the more people that do this, it's dangerous. It's dangerous that this is the mindset that a bunch of 28 to 35 year olds are having. These are the people who are taking the next steps in our communities, in our nation, in our businesses. That's the age bracket that is being looked at. If that age bracket is simultaneously doing that and going to kindergarten, that's not good. So if you're one of those people, which I would be stunned, if anyone listening to this was also someone who went to adult kindergarten or colored, I'd be shocked. But if you are one of those people, find another way. Here's a way. Booze, the hooch. It's been around for ages. Works wonders. Go to your local liquor store. Tell them I sent you. Get a bottle of vodka or a bottle of wine, or start slow. Get both. And go have a drink at night. Now, I know most people are going to say, well, James, coloring is much more healthy than drinking a martini at night. You know what? It's not. It's not. Because mentally, you're so fragile and vulnerable and frail that you're coloring a Tyrannosaurus Rex in a classroom with a bunch of other 40-year-olds. Yeah, I'm going to take whatever that martini does to me. Literally anything else. If you go into your closet and scream into a bag and cry for hours, that, in my opinion, is more healthy than going to adult kindergarten or coloring. If you're doing that, if you're part of this fad, please stop it. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. So please don't do it. Next story. Monopoly board game is replacing the thimble, the wheelbarrow, and the boot, the thimble, wheelbarrow, and boot pieces with a rubber duck, a T-Rex, and a penguin. Big day for birds. With ducks and penguins getting their own Monopoly pieces, Tyrannosaurus Rexes. I love Monopoly. It's one of the only board games that I'll play. It's one of the only board games I'm ready to play some Monopoly. Yeah, it takes forever. Yeah, no one really knows the rules. Yeah, everyone plays it with their own rules. But man, I love that game. And I'm like Goldberg in 1997. I'm unbeatable. I'm a freak of nature. All right? I'm not going to get beat in Monopoly. I will swindle, undercut. I'll do it all. Here's some secrets. I'm going to pass some of my Monopoly secrets on to my loyal listeners. This is some stuff. Let me put you into a situation. You meet a girl. Nice girl. Pretty girl. Good for you. I'm proud of you. She takes you to her house for whatever, family dinner. After dinner, her old man sitting across from you, staring you down, sizing you up. Her mom's sitting there. She's sitting there. Her older brother's sitting there. And dinner's over with. It's fantastic. What'd they have, you ask? Alfredo. What else are you going to have on a first dinner? Then the dad says, hey, how about we play a board game? Oh, that's a great idea, honey. Bust out Monopoly. Old school, so you know he's real. Sits down. Now pick your piece. You pick your piece. Roll the dice. It's go time. You don't want to be the first one eliminated. You don't want to be the sucker. You don't want to be the sucker buying the green pieces. You don't want to be the guy buying Boardwalk. So I'm going to help you. This is how you win Monopoly. You let everyone else get the railroads. You let everyone else get blue, green, yellows. None of that matters. Light blue, none of that matters. All you are gunning for is the pink and the orange. If you get the pink and the orange, you will win. You get the pink, you get the orange. If you get some of the red, it's only a bonus. That's it. That's all you got to do. Pink and orange. Why? Here's people ask why. The other cards of the game, chance cards, community chest, they send you to jail, which is the start of that pink and orange death trap. So most people go to jail, right? They don't send you to right before the yellow. So they send you right before your little stretch. Also, people are trying to roll on free parking. Free parking is super hard to hit. So they're going to land right in front of free parking or right behind free parking. If they land in front of it at all, money city population you. Also, there's like a waterworks or something right in there and a railroad. So besides those two pieces, you are covering some serious ground. And the prices are high enough to where if they land on it, you got hotels and stuff, you're talking about $1,000, $1,000. And it's not too expensive to invest in. Boardwalk and Park Place, way too expensive to invest in. If people aren't landing on that, you only have two spaces. If people aren't landing on those 2 spaces, you're screwed. Now you have 6 spaces and they can land on multiple times. If they land on the first pink, there's a pretty good chance they're going to roll and catch one of those oranges. So you're going to win. It's the perfect combination. Get your Monopoly game to the next level thanks to me. Get the pink and the orange. That's it. As far as the pieces go, don't care. I understand why they're doing it. Thimbles, wheelbarrows, boots, nobody uses any of those. I would guess most people don't even know what a thimble is. So I understand them getting away from the pieces that no one cares about, even though I did like the thimble. The rubber duck, whatever. T-Rex, love it. Love a T-Rex, love a dinosaur, love a Godzilla. Anything like that's fine. T-Rexes, King Kongs, giant monsters, need more of them. And the penguin. Who doesn't like penguins? I have no problem with the Arctic birds. Zero problem. All right, the penultimate story. Let's see how we're doing on time. We're doing pretty good on time. We're doing pretty strong. All right, next story here. It might not be the penultimate, depending on how the time goes. This is a story out of Australia, out of Down Under, out of the outback. No bread. So there was an 18-year-old guy, and he met this famous Australian backpacker. Now stay with me, because this is hard to follow as someone from the States who has no idea what any of this stuff is. She's a British backpacker, famous. She's like Instagram famous, whatever. And this guy's 18. She's 20. How old is she? Let's see. I have the article pulled up. Doesn't show how old she is, but I think she's older than 18. She's older than him. They met at a bar in northern Queensland, the northern Queensland town of Innisfail. Innisfail around 2:30 a.m. on Sunday. Okay, so he starts bragging that he can swim in the river, which is a known crocodile spot. And she says something like, "No, you can't. LOL. JK, JK, JK." So he, being the 18-year-old boy trying to impress this girl, decides, I can do it, and I'm going to jump into this river. So he jumps in the river. And not surprisingly, the end of the story, he gets attacked by a crocodile. Well, I guess it's not the end of the story, but he gets attacked by a crocodile. The crocodile does what crocodiles do, lashed onto that arm, and the crocodile is about to do the patented death roll, ripping his arm off, breaking his arm in all these different sockets, dragging him to the icy depths of the river, stuffing him under a log to save him for later. That's what they do. And he survivor instincts, gouged this crocodile's eye, and it swam off. His arm is completely crushed, bones sticking out all over, blood and bones sticking out everywhere. We had to go to the hospital. They barely saved his arm. And he was interviewed about it. It was a huge thing. And he said that he, no regrets, just kind of stuff happens, whatever. The girl's name is Sophie Patterson. She wasn't too impressed with the whole thing. She said that they didn't have any chemistry, so they probably won't have a second date or a first date, which is unbelievable. Okay, the fact that I'm not saying what he did was smart or justified, but the fact that he did this and got all this media attention, and she's not going to capitalize on it, you have to go on a date with this guy. That's just more eyes on you. More eyes on you, more media attention, more news coverage. She's a social media backpacking celebrity. She needs this. She needs media attention. She needs eyes. She needs all this. So I don't know what she's doing saying that I'm not going on a date with him. She has to go on a date with him. If she doesn't go on a date with him, she's a fool. If I'm her PR rep, I'm saying, listen, we are levying for a reality show with you two idiots. So you are going on this date. You are going to the movies. You don't need to worry about holding his hand. It's in a cast. You don't have to worry about this guy touching you. His arm's stuck like this. He got attacked by an alligator. You don't remember? Sad part of the story is local authorities have set a trap out in this river waterway system, and they're trying to trap the alligator and kill it because it attacked the kid, which I think is the dumbest thing ever. Okay? You always hear about this with sharks and alligators or crocodiles. I keep saying alligator, it was a crocodile. I don't want to give alligators a bad name. You always see this, though, with animals, that if a crocodile or a shark attacks a kid or attacks a teenager or adult, whatever, the next thing they want to do is catch that exact crocodile, that exact shark, get it out of the system, like it's in there, telling the other sharks, "Hey, I'm gonna go attack this guy," and the other shark's like, "No, man, don't do that, Cody, don't do that." And the Cody shark is like, "No, I'm doing it." There's not a bad shark. There's not a bad crocodile. They're crocodiles. They're sharks. They're gonna attack whatever's in there. Just because you got the Cody out of there, or the Chad, just because Chad's out of the river system, doesn't mean that the next guy, Dalton, doesn't mean Dalton's not going to go in and attack somebody. Yeah, it's the dumbest thing that always happens. Like, oh, this 15-foot bull shark attacked a 6-year-old girl. Let's go ahead and get that high school dropout bull shark out of this river system. The bull shark doesn't care about what happened, and the other bull sharks don't care. If you take that bull shark out or that crocodile out, another one's going to come and do the same damn thing. You don't have a group of like homeschooled, private school crocodiles, and then this north side of the track crocodile sitting over there, doing drugs and peddling moonshine. They're crocodiles. Well, the fact that they're treating this like he broke some kind of law, like, oh, we'll trap him and try him for his crimes and get him out of there. What? It's a croc. If anyone should understand that, it's Australian people. I never understand the crocodile shark hunting trap setting. I've never ever understood that. That people think that these isolated sharks, these isolated crocodiles, are somehow making their own decisions and they're just bad seeds. If we get the bad seeds out of there, then the river system will be fine. We have a bunch of, college educated crocodiles in there. Once we get all these foreign crocodiles out of there, then we'll be good. It's bananas. It's crazy. Let's check the timer again. All right, we're okay. We'll call this the last story. I was going to talk about March Madness a little bit, but, we're going to stick with this other story. We may talk about it Wednesday. We're doing shows. We're trying to stick to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. It's easier for me. Hopefully it's easier for y'all to know when the shows are coming. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to try and put out a show. The actual video product maybe a day after or later in the day, but the audio will definitely be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No doubt about it. Last story. Tomorrow night, Tuesday the 21st. Yeah, Tuesday the 21st. Dave Chappelle's comedy specials air on Netflix. Dave Chappelle is one of those names for me that is, holy, right? He's the same vein as like Ric Flair. He's the same vein as Shawn Michaels. Dave Chappelle, more than likely, is one. I was going to say he's the greatest comedian ever, but I don't know if that's true. I do know he's one of the greatest comedic minds ever. You could argue that his show is better than his stand-up. I personally love his stand-up. Love his stand-up. So I don't know if I would even say that, but I can see how people would like the show more, or I've never seen a stand-up. So I don't want to cross the stand-up and the show thing. Dave Chappelle, and it really is crazy that his show was big in 2004, 2005, that area. Let's see when his show was big. I don't want to talk bad about Dave Chappelle here. Let's see. I'm gonna say, before I even see it, I'm gonna say 2004 is when it was airing. The final episode was 2006. I think it was only 2 seasons long. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. 2003, January 2003 to July 2006. So yeah, about 2004ish to 2003 2006. So his rise, this show was the hottest show on TV. It was way, way better than Saturday Night Live or other shows, other sketch shows. It was the funniest show on TV. It was not close. There was not a second place. And Dave Chappelle was pretty much starring in every single sketch, writing or help write every single sketch, doing the hosting of the TV show. I mean, this show was Dave Chappelle pouring his brain out onto a platter. And I see this, well, I don't see it, but you see this a lot with creative genius type people, is that they either stretch it out, like you know how like some artists, they'll have a CD that's like 3 really great songs, 5 average songs, and like 2 duds, and then you have someone like 50 Cent who came out with one CD at the very beginning that had like 15 number 1 hit bangers, like, and 50 Cent just put it all onto one CD and then kind of fell off. Some people just burn so bright, like Dave Chappelle, or even like Kurt Cobain, people like that. They burn so bright they can't stretch it out. Chris Farley, they're just burning, and they're so talented and they're so genius, it kind of overtakes them, and it's just too much. And Dave Chappelle, I think, kind of fits that mold, that he gave his everything. He burned at both ends for that TV show. He gave you every single part of himself and his brain and his humor and his writing and all that stuff. He gave it all to you in the show for 3 years and his comedy specials. And now he took a long hiatus, right? 11 years. And he started to come back into the public. He's did Saturday Night Live. Now he's doing these shows, these Netflix specials. Watch the specials. I obviously haven't seen them. I will watch them tomorrow night, and we'll talk about them again on Wednesday. Watch the specials. This is a once-in-a-generation type talent. This is a once-in-a-generation type comedian, type funny mind. I don't know what he's going to do in these specials, but I know they're going to be incredible. He's too good at what he does for them not to be. And after 11 years to do this, to do a big production, Saturday Night Live, that's not his production. He's just part of it. The show, Chappelle Show, that was his production. These specials are his productions. So trust in Dave Chappelle, trust in what he does. He's unbelievable. And some of the absolute funniest stuff has come out of that man's mouth. I cannot wait to see those comedy specials. There's some comedians, Killing Them Softly, Dave Chappelle's stand-up probably is my favorite stand-up. There's a bunch of other comedians who have really good stand-up specials, and they're right up there with Dave Chappelle's show, or Dave Chappelle's special. But that show for 2.5 years right there, those sketches were 10 out of 10. They were not missing. He was doing it all. So I'm glad to see Dave Chappelle back. I'm excited to see the show, and I hope you watch it too. But speaking of shows, that is the end of this show. The show is over. The James Skrmetta Show is wrapping up here. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate every single second that you listen to this program. You hit that play button, hit that follow button, any of that stuff. When people tell me they listen to the show, you can't imagine how excited it makes me feel, because on a very smaller scale, this production, besides all my producers and writers sitting in the room with me, aka myself, this is all me. Every single aspect of it, the graphics, the sound, the editing, all that stuff, music. So for someone to say, hey, I listened to your thing, that's them saying, hey, what you did, that was cool. So Dave Chappelle, I know how you feel, brother. We're basically doing the same thing, right? Netflix needs to give me some of that Dave Chappelle money. But guys, please, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, all that stuff. This has been the James Skrmetta Show.